what I did that worked was reach outside myself. I think sometimes people think like, oh, you know,
like what do you mean like reaching outside?
Like watch a YouTube video, read a book.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these formulas and YouTube videos on like how to write a pitch, how to talk about your business, how to sound confident. Watch them all. They're not all going to work for you. There's different suggestions, and they're not going to work for you personally, or maybe not work for your business. But if you just like, you know, keep your ears open and cast a wide net on information, you're going to start absorbing things that are going to work. So just, you know, like always be learning. Podcasts are great, you know, and I drive a lot, so.
We love podcasts.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, I'm Josh Owen. As the owner of a video marketing company in New Orleans, I've been on the quest to learn everything I can about marketing. Everyone has a different style, different strategy, and a different experience. Is there a wrong way to do it? A right way to do it? Let's find out together as we make marketing make sense. Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of Make Marketing Make Sense. I am here with a very special guest, Coco Darrow of Stronghold Studios, co-owner, the creme de la creme.
Ta-da.
Here to share with us all about perfecting your pitch, which I think you had some experience with that.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And so what better way than to just dive right in and talk about it? So tell me, you know, when did you really, what was that moment where you recognized that perfecting your pitch was like, oh, this is something I need to invest my time in?
It's strange, but during COVID, when nothing was happening, like I had no one to do a pitch to, it was kind of occurred to me that that's the time that I need to work on some of that front end stuff. So like be more comfortable talking about my business and who am I as a business partner or business person, and who am I connecting with? How am I telling our story? So it felt kind of clunky to me, and I recognized that. And I did a couple of things during COVID when there was no work to do. I took some business coaching courses. I did some of those like online meetup business mixers that used to be like held like in person but turned into Zoom meetings.
Wow.
So you kind of did like a little.
You're getting in on like on the most like
dove into the awkward.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like,
you really had to really perfect it because at that point it's all digital. You know.
Yeah. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good in the beginning. It's not meant to. You're not meant to sound perfect out of the gate. And so there was a little bit of cutting my teeth on talking to other people about my business and talking about my business. And so I got a lot of like background work during that time.
Right.
I'll say that there was some really super important key things that I learned from Mary Jane Walsh, who's a local business coach. And let me see if I can paraphrase it. You know, your pitch is who you are, what you do, and then the ultimate value you provide.
Right.
Now, like the first two things are separate from the last thing, the third thing. And the first two things are you just have to know your business.
Yeah.
You know, you can't sound awkward. You can't, like say if you're really into football and how you talk about football with your best friend who's a football person.
Ooh, you know me so well. I love those footballs.
You just really boop, 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 boop. You have to sound that comfortable with it. And that's only going to come with practice and writing. I wrote it down so many times. I rewrote it. I practiced it. I got feedback on it. It just kept kind of like honing in until like I felt like it was a comfortable, it came out comfortably.
Gotcha.
So that's, who you are and what you do. Now, the third part is going to be different for every single pitch that you do. Right. And it's because who are you pitching to? Like, I'm a business owner and an entrepreneur. So I'm really just pitching to clients. Right. But a lot of times people are pitching to financiers or investors or something like that. So it's really going to look different to everybody. Right. And so that's what I learned as soon as house floats took hold and we got this success and recognition from that, and we got more people coming to us. And it was really easy in the beginning, but there were other businesses coming and brands coming. And I had to learn how to talk to them. Yeah. And they had different needs, like a homeowner who wants a house float for Mardi Gras wants exciting, beautiful art. Right. And let's say if you're a marketing person representing a brand, you want to represent that brand. You want your customers to experience that brand. Yeah. So they want different things out of it.
Yeah,
and you have to learn to speak their language.
Yeah.
And as far as the ultimate value that we provide, whether, like, I would say in the instance of house floats, a local person, I would say, you're going to enjoy this so much. You're going to have your friends and family over, and we're so excited to work with you. And it's about that personal relationship. Yeah. They're really excited to work with, like, local businesses and like, experience the art scene in New Orleans, which they felt disconnected from. Yeah. But now they get to, Yeah.
That's so, so basically what you're saying is you're sharing with them, you're trying to figure out what they want to hear.
Yes.
And build that in.
And I learned that through those first couple of months. So, like, if it's an individual, it's always about a person to person, you know, that relationship.
Right. But if they are representing themselves as an individual, they have different needs than if they're if
they're representing a company or a business or even just a small business owner. So they're kind of in between those two things. But what you want to do for them is validate that this is their marketing, that they can trust you. Yeah. And that this is worth it. And there's all these, like, so the example would be maybe like a corporate brand wants something for a private party or an event. And oftentimes their marketing company is calling from, like, Canada or LA or Chicago. And they have an event in New Orleans. Right. They got to do a whole bunch of stuff and have a whole bunch of decor. And so I'm not talking about just creating artwork for them or, logos or graphic design. I'm talking about like mock-ups, approvals. I'm talking about how we do full service installation. I'm talking about if they have stuff that needs to get shipped here before the event, it can be shipped to our warehouse and we can provide that service. Yeah. We can create the items after. We can store the items for you. And so, and I learned that ultimate value by having 1,000 conversations that had all those questions, right? Yeah. So every time you're having that pitch in that conversation, you're adding, like, another thing, to, this is what people want. So are
you like taking note of that or somewhere, or how do you
mentally,
Gotcha. And so you're kind of building these, like, I guess, like, how do you organize your pitch, or like how are you doing it in the back end? Are you kind of like writing it down, like, or is it just all just like, just intuition and you're just building it off that?
I think that it probably would be good to do a lot of writing, but because of our sudden success through house floats, which led to more like bigger jobs or other jobs, that I just had so many conversations. Like, it was a crash course. Yeah. So you just, like, I had about right like
less
than, I had that year during COVID, and then I had the year after that, just constantly perfecting it. Wow. So, but if you don't get the chance to do it all the time, then probably write. But yeah, I don't have it written down. I don't have. It's a formula in my head. Yeah, and it's there's a lot of formulas you'll find online. Like, it's all a different version of who you are, what you do, and the ultimate value you provide. And really, I think the key is, like I said, sounding really familiar on those first two subjects. Yeah. And confident. Yeah. And then on the third, it's all about, what are you looking for? What do you need?
Interesting.
And if you're walking in and you don't know what they need, like, it's okay to start out and ask, maybe ask, like, an insightful question. Like, if you could get them talking, or if what, what, do you not know anything about what they do? You're just like, and you're seeing if there could be a connection.
Interesting.
So you can let it be a little organic, but you want to watch, and this is something I thought I'd mention too, that you want to watch, like, the psychology of the person, the body language of the person, because I'll notice that I'll say, I'm Coco Darrow. I'm the owner of Stronghold Studios. We're a custom arts and fabrication business. And they go, huh? And like, because they can't place it in their head. Like, what does that mean? Yeah, because it's not one thing. Like, we don't make Post-it notes. And it really does. We do so many different things. So then I'll say, if they're local, I'll say a couple of things they would know, like our work with Jazz Fest and the stage headers and the food booth facades and house floats, and it locks in their head. They're like, okay, I know what you do. Yeah, interesting. So you're just watching, like, what clicks in for them. Yeah. And so just constantly taking those notes and in your head, like, what are people, I can see them not understanding. What are they not understanding? Yeah. I think a good thing to do is I have a long drive to work, and I practice in my car. If I know I have, like this morning, I drove to work.
Yeah.
And I practice talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Wow.
I'm doing a pitch for my business. I'm pitching myself right now, you know? And so.
Do I sound as good as I did earlier?
Yes, even better.
Oh,
even
wow.
Yeah,
okay.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, was I wearing the shirt in there?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, wow, psychic. All right, that's it. Wow, okay. I mean, well, and, you know, before you go on, I wanted to just reiterate, too, which I think is so interesting with what you're saying, is, you know, you're talking about these like core like marketing concepts that you almost learned firsthand, like knowing your audience, but then also building, you know, which I've never really thought about, which I think is really interesting, is your pitch is crafted to each individual. Like you're trying to craft it to who they are, knowing them as an audience and knowing like, hey, my pitch needs to be very specified, and you're locking in all these different examples. So you're building are you also building like an arsenal of examples ready to go to like associate? You're almost like creating association with them so they can immediately know, oh, that's where she is in my mind. Yeah.
There's like almost profiles. Like who is this? Is this customer similar to these other customers that I have, and I can work from that?
Yeah.
You know, I'll say whichever it is, whether they're corporate, it doesn't matter who the client is. At the end of the day, they want to do work with another person that they enjoy working with.
Right.
So it's really, there's a lot of like first impression stuff that, you know, there's something that I read in a Malcolm Gladwell book, Blink, that I'm in the middle. Yeah. I know, it's so juicy. It's juicy stuff. And I'm reading Blink right now.
Okay.
And he mentioned something about thin slicing, which, I mean, I'm not going to synopsize the book, but it's about how people make decisions, like in a micro amount of time before they're even aware of that conclusion themselves. And that these things happen really fast. So it's all about connecting with other people. And I brought up, you know, just know psychology, know body language, know how to connect with other people.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole other that's a whole other episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's important because people want to do business with other people.
Yeah.
And if you struggle with that, because people think, you know, I'm an extrovert. I recognize that I like to talk. But, you know, my business partner, who's my husband, is not an extrovert. He's not long-winded and talky like me. But there is something about a confidence and assuredness in brevity. You know, like we're gonna do a good job. I've done this before. Yeah, it's important to me.
Right.
That was another thing I wanted to mention about psychology. I didn't. So I got started with the Malcolm Gladwell example because they mentioned like dropping words that made people feel a certain way. That wasn't even necessarily the subject of what exactly you're talking about. So you want a giant hot dog sculpted, right?
I mean,
you reach out.
I do want that. Yeah. You know. All right.
I want to make that. So
I need some funders. So you know, get to me.
Yeah. But, you know, you're trying to figure out who can do this for you. You're calling around. You have no idea about this process, how much this stuff costs, anything.
Yeah.
And I say to you when I'm speaking about this, that this is really exciting.
Yeah.
I would be really happy to make this for you. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really going to prioritize this project. I didn't tell you anything. Those were just keywords, but they're important because I told you your experience. I was like, your experience moving forward is going to be
riding that
exciting
wave with me. Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. It's like going to be high priority for us. You know, I didn't talk about timelines or budget, but you're presenting those. Yeah. Like you want to name their experience a little. Yeah.
You want them to feel these certain things that you're going to give them. Like you're going to give them an experience, I guess, like priority, and that doesn't say like I'm going to, you know, do your thing faster or slower, but it does make them feel like, hey, I'm the one in the world. Like I want to feel like I'm the only one in your world when you're building my hot dog, you know? Yeah. And so that's really what you're trying to give them is like almost like give it to them, but not give them too much, you know? Right. And so like being on that journey with them. So wow. Yeah, that's cool.
You're hooking them in because people want an experience. And if they're spending a lot of money or their job is on the line because they're planning this event and their bosses are looking at them, they want to feel like you're a partner. Yeah. You're gonna help them get their job, done well.
Right. That's awesome. Now all I'm thinking about is getting that giant hot dog. So,
We'll talk after.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and then one of the things I wanted to definitely talk about too was, where were some of the big teaching moments for you, where you realized like, I didn't have it quite down enough. Like, or when, especially things that like I think we all take for granted. What are some of the things, and you had mentioned to me a while back about like a few different things that you're always like really important, especially what are the most, and I guess this is the best way to say it, like when you're thinking about talking about your business, what are the most important things you should say about your business when you're talking about your business? Or is there like an ingredient list that you put down when it comes to talking about your business?
There's a formula in my head on who I'm talking to. And I think one of the things that's changed, like in our business, is that me and my husband are the second generation. We're a family-owned business. So we took it over from my father-in-law, who started it in the 90s. Wow. And that was just a different way of doing business. And he even kind of recognized that when I was starting to pivot and talk about our business, that people want to know who they're doing business with, not just what you do, Yeah. So especially in a town like New Orleans, just being able to provide that association so they know who we are, they know what we're about, they know our work, and they can place us. And people want to participate with culture bearers and art in New Orleans. Definitely. And it just matters, you know. I don't think Stronghold would be a successful business if it were anywhere else, and like New Orleans needed something, so they called, Chicago to ship it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's interesting.
It's they want a New Orleans experience. They want somebody that understands the importance of it.
You are that culture that captures what they're looking for, and they can, like, you could easily mess it up. You're from Chicago or whatever. Yeah, which I'm sure has happened. So, but the last thing I want to definitely touch on is, if other people are starting out and they're starting their own businesses and they're trying to figure out, how the best ways to, craft their own pitches, what would you say to them, some advice on things that they should include, things that they should do, what are some things to get them started?
I think, what I did that worked was reach outside myself. I think sometimes people think like, like
what do you mean, like reaching outside?
Like watch a YouTube video, read a book. There's all these formulas and YouTube videos on like how to write a pitch, how to talk about your business, how to sound confident. Watch them all. They're not all going to work for you. There's different suggestions, and they're not going to work for you personally, or maybe not work for your business. But if you just keep your ears open and cast a wide net on information, you're going to start absorbing things that are going to work. So just, always be learning. Podcasts are great, and I drive a lot. So
we love podcasts.
Hello. Because you can just sit there and you absorb and you're picking up so much. So other recommendations. One of the recommendations that I have not seen anywhere.
Really?
Except for the course I did during COVID with Mary Jane Walsh. Okay. And it sounds silly, it does, but it was super important for me and kind of a breakthrough. Is and she I think her approach was that you create an avatar. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's not you. You're not. When you're in business, you're the business version of you, right? Or this is a different role. So you're not just saying like create a customer avatar. You're saying an avatar for yourself. Yes, exactly. Oh. So, and that helped me click a lot because, and I think other people, they'll look at like a certain person and they'll be like, that person can talk. Yeah. They have a pitch. They sound confident. They know what they're doing. Yeah. I wish I could sound like them. Yeah. And then be like, well, don't do the, Coco Darrow version. Do the, I had a couple different people, and one of them was Michelle Obama because she sounds so personal when she's speaking to everybody. Interesting. And she's so connected. Yeah. She connects with people. Yeah, definitely. And so I just kind of felt like I'd never done acting or theater, but that I was like, I took on that persona. Yeah. And do writing around it. So who's your avatar? Is it a person? Is it, who is this person that you want to be in that moment when you're pitching? When you're talking about business, when you're connecting with other people. And like, what are those attributes? Right. Write them down. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then maybe you can watch that person speak more and learn more. Wow. Yeah, so that's a cool idea. It clicked. There was a click with that. Wow. Like who do you want to be
Yeah.
like? How do you want to sound?
Right.
You know, and then I was like, oh, okay, I can just kind of pretend to be like them a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then it just
channeling that energy, because you're channeling
channel
some kind of
energy
good,
is a better way to say it.
some like that person's a great speaker, great at what they're doing, and so like if you're just already trying to act like that said person, there's also you pull a lot. I feel like doing that too, you put a lot of pressure off yourself too.
Yes, because I don't have to be. Yeah,
because you're just like that didn't go well. Screw you, Obama. No, or Michelle Obama. No, but no, we love the Obamas. So, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. But yeah,
it just helps. Like I tend to be a little goofy and silly, and I feel like I need to just, I need to like be the business version of myself, and just having an avatar in my head for that. And there was a couple other CEOs. I really, as a woman, I couldn't connect in a creative business too. So as a woman in a creative business in New Orleans, and I'm doing business in this,
tight
kind of like scenario.
Yeah.
When I watched those videos, it was a lot of like white men in suits, talking about, how you need to, do this more and own the room. And it just didn't feel like what was going to end up working for me.
Yeah.
And so that's when the avatar thing kind of helped, you know what I mean? Because then I was like, let me see how this woman operates when she's doing things, and let me be me. Like, I think I had a measuring stick of, and it's just like on that measuring stick is a YouTube video of somebody in New York City working in finance. It's like, I'm Coco Darrow. This is a creative business with a lot of cultural importance to the city in New Orleans. These are just different scenarios and different language. Which kind of goes into like beyond just the pitch. So something I like to tell people is just like, you want to absorb information from people that are experts, and you want to like, I love asking people like, oh, what's your experience? What, or what would you do in this scenario or stuff like that. But then be willing to just kind of throw it away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you want to learn it all, but then you have to recognize like, oh, no, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's going to work
for me. That's definitely the thing I was going to, I think, and the great thing to end on would just be, finding the thing that resonates with you and throwing away the things that, don't hold anything too much to heart. Don't go down one line too much, but rather, just feel the things that are natural, keep it. And the things that don't feel natural, don't necessarily like, there's a fine line, but obviously that's where you build it out. But which has
a lot to do with your pitch too, because you're just constantly reacting.
Yeah.
And you'll never be done with your pitch.
Yeah.
You'll always be learning a little thing. It's like my business plan. I'm like, before everything, you're like, oh, you write a business plan. Plan like kind of sounds like some concrete thing, like it's not going to change and respond to the market and what's needed, So it's just always evolve and be ready to learn. And that's okay. You're not going to like master something, check it off, and go on to the next thing when you're a small business owner. Yeah. I'm always working on my website. Always gotta come back. I'm always working on my pitch. Yeah. I'm always, you're just always, but that's good. That's how it should be.
Yeah. That's how it should be. I love it. Well, I think where we be is a great place to, leave things off. And then, and everyone can definitely take that to heart. I love the avatar stuff. So, but yeah, thanks so much for having this conversation with me.
Thanks for
Coco.
having me.
And of course, the next thing to do is share where you are and where people can find you on the internet and in digital spheres and all that good stuff. So where does Stronghold and Coco live on the internet?
We exist in so many locations. We have our website, strongholdstudios.com, and we're on Instagram. Stronghold Studios NOLA is our name on Instagram. I think Instagram's a great way to follow us and keep like up-to-date information.
See all those wonderful house floats. Tis the season right now. I mean, we don't know when this is coming out, but it's peak Mardi Gras. I don't know how you're not working around the clock over here.
I am. I just came from an installation.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's happening. So.
And I'm going back to work.
Okay. Well, great. Well, we're so appreciative for having you, and we'll see everybody else on the next one. This has been Make Marketing Make Sense, brought to you by Comfystone. If you need video content for social media, your website, or email marketing, hit up Comfystone at comfystone.com and follow Comfystone on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.